Wow, AMD's might consider the Ryzen 5600X 3D. Let's check it out. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're in the world. You know what it is, JJ and JJ's PC Builds. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to work towards 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. What I mean by 4,000 watch hours, watch the videos from beginning to end would be much appreciated, will help us grow. And also, too, want to thank all the new subscribers we definitely got in. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And also to the subscribers we got, I do want to thank you once again. Awesome job you guys done helping us out, watching the videos and everything else. And you're probably telling your friends or two to come on and subscribe down here to our channel. So that is all much appreciated. Okay, let's get to the juice of the story. I see that this is floating around on the tube and as well as the internet about the Ryzen 5 5600X3D. Now, since it's been floating around the internet, you know, as everybody calls it, the inner boob, let's see. Let's see what I pulled up. Let's see if I still got it, but I probably do. So y'all have to be patient with me and let me find what I need to find. So we'll go ahead and we'll pull it up and get you started. And we're going to switch over to the action screen too. So let's go ahead and switch over the action screen. There we go. And let's make this a little bit bigger for y'all to see. Yeah, we'll make it a little bit bigger for y'all to see. It'll probably be just about as big as we can get it right there. Okay. Now, this is the story that I've been getting. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, lordy. But anyway, I want to reiterate something really quick. I want to tell y'all a little bit of a story. Now, do hold on to your hats for this. This is something I typed out. I want y'all to hear it, so do stand by for it, and we'll be right back on it. Okay, here we go with the story that I wrote. And do get this wrong or right? You know, I'm just reiterating what my findings are on the internet. In this world of computer processors, a new champion has emerged, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D. Ooh, that sounds like a good one. A product of advanced engineering and relentless innovation will take the tech industry by storm. It will, though, believe it or not, for Am4. With its Zen 3 architecture and state-of-art manufacturing process, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D will usher in a new era of performance and efficiency. It will be boasted by 6 core and 12 threads and 96 megs of L3 cache, delivering impressive multitasking capabilities and lightning-fast responsiveness. We're getting there. Whether it was for gaming, content creation, or heavy workloads, this processor will excel in every domain. The Ryzen 5 5600X3D's power is not only relied on its core count, but also in its clock speeds. With a base clock of 3.3 gigahertz and a boost clock of up to 4.4 gigahertz, it will unleash raw processing power for swift and seamless operations. Gamers will rejoice as they experience the buttery smooth gameplay, while professionals will marvel at its ability to handle demanding tasks with ease. One of the leaks of the Ryzen 5 5600X3D was its compatibility to PCIe 4.0, not confirmed yet, but it will provide lightning fast data transfer speeds and unlocking the full potential of modern graphics cards and NVMe SSDs. This would ensure users that they could take full advantage of the latest technologies, pushing the boundaries and achieving new levels of performance. However, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D isn't just about raw power. It also could be engineered with efficiency in the mind. The Zen 3 architecture combined up to a 7 nanometer manufacturing process, resulting in a improved power efficiency, reduced energy consumption while maintaining top-tier performance. This would make it an ideal choice for those seeking a balance between power and sustainability. Enthusiasts and techs across the globe would hail that the Ryzen 5 5600X3D would be a game changer in the processor market. Its affordability compared to its high-end counterparts would make it very accessible to a wide range of users, ensuring that everyone could experience the thrill of high-end performance. In computing, time will tell. In conclusion, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D would revolutionize the industry with exceptional performance, efficiency, and affordability. It will stand a testament of AMD's commitment for pushing the boundaries of technology for Am4 series and empowering users to unlock new possibilities and embark on extraordinary computing journeys into the Am4 world. Now, I want you to understand where my thought was coming for that was for the fact of that if they bring it to the Am4 series, okay, it's bringing a lot. I mean, you get the 5800X3D, right? But if you got a 5600X3D that costs less, let's say it costs less than $200, okay, what you're bringing right there is another add-in to the Am4. Okay, Am4 only has one X3D processor, so do keep that in mind. Now, if they add like a couple more, it would make the Am4 series just as robust as the Am5 series with the 7950X3D. So, and back to the story. With the leak of the Ryzen 5600X3D, the future of computing in the X3D world would emerge, and it will add the power and endless potentials of Am4. So in the future, when AMD confirms, and understand this, when AMD confirms the rollout of this new processor, it will breathe life back into the Am4 series. Now, this is what my hopes and dreams and other enthusiasts had their dreams about. Now, with all that in mind, that makes you really want to stick around for the Am4 series to get your hands on the 5600X3D. But the thing is this, it's only if AMD rolls it out. Now, this is just a leak. But the potentials with the 5600X3D could be extraordinary, especially if they decided to make it like, let's say, a 65-watt processor. Okay, 65-watt processor would not kill the L3 cache like everybody would have thought it would. But at 65 watts, it could ramp up to about close to 90 watts, but it still maintains its structure as well as its integrity. So if they ever roll this out, which I hope they do, because, you know, a lot of people are not streaming to the next gen processors and everything else. They're kind of weaning back from it, is because of all the problems and everything else they've been having with it. Now, if they bring out a 5600X3D processor, more than likely it would probably share the same software that they already have for the 5600X. Might be that they need to make a couple changes to bring up the, you know, the boost of the power of it and stuff like that, but time will tell. Time will tell. But from what this leak is, this is from videocards.com, that I picked up this leak right here. I took a screenshot of it so that way I didn't have to go up on the inner boob and, you know, kind of string y'all along. But do remember, the 5800X3D is $289. Now, with the 5600X, you know, the 5600 to 5600X, it should fall in between those numbers and the 289 for the 5800X3D. But also, too, from what I'm hearing, and this is what I'm hearing, that the power of this 5600X3D would match and exceed the 5800X3D. Now, if that's the case and they put it for less than a couple $100, what do you think everybody's going to be buying right now? They're going to be buying it hand over fist. They're going to be buying Am4 motherboards, you know, to match with this processor. You know, I mean, it sounds like it's a dream. It really does. And don't forget to have your drink with you on that other hand, you know. So I wanted you all to keep that in mind when it comes to, you know, getting ready to do the 5800 or the 5600X3D. Also, too, if you're thinking about buying the 5800X3D, you could, but in my preference, I'm going to wait to see if they're going to roll out the 5600X3D. If they do roll it out, and it does everything that I'm telling you all right now, then guess what? You got an awesome processor. It's not the 5800X3D, but it'll be the 5600X3D. And it'll have 96 megs of L3 cache. I'm sure it'll have PCIe 4.0. Now, they wouldn't roll out a processor with that caliber with PCIe 3.0. It wouldn't make sense for them to do that. But what would make that even more, now get this, what would even make that more of a great processor if they decided to leave that amount of cache on it, but they decided to put integrated graphics on it, like an iGPU, and boost up the iGPU to, let's say, equaled up to about a RTX 2080. You know how many people would want to kill for that processor at that point? That would just be something they would really want to buy. But coming down, since I've already gotten down to the conclusion of this, and I'm not going to make this a long video, it's going to be a short one today because I got a lot going on, but we're going to go ahead and swing back to the main screen. Okay, understand this. I'm waiting to see if they're going to do this. Now, finding out that, you know, if they're going to invest the time and money in doing the 5600X3D, it would bring a new light to the Am4 series. Okay, a lot of people are still carrying the Am4 series. Now, if AMD wants to make good to all the gamers and everything else, they would roll this out. And that's just my opinion. And that's my conclusion. That's my opinion. They would roll it out. I mean, make it robust, make it like, you know, not to where it burns up like the other X3 next gen X3D chips do, the Am5 series. Make sure it doesn't burn up. That's one. make it compatible with all the Am4 motherboards. That's 2. So you got to think about the potentials that that's going to have. I mean, if you got an Am4 motherboard and they roll out this new Am4 chip, then only thing motherboard manufacturers have to do is, if they want to take and do an offset, you know, to make sure that the chip runs right with the processor runs right with the motherboard, they can roll out an update, BIOS update, and fix that problem before the, you know, before anything. They can roll out a BIOS update. They can make sure it runs with the processor correctly, and they run it through its paces and make sure that they run it. I mean, they hammer that chip, that processor chip, to the ground in that motherboard. Not to where it catches fire, but where it actually handles 130% of whatever the motherboard's putting out. So if it can handle 130%, you know that 3D processor is going to handle all the heat and everything that it's going to dissipate. But at 65 watts, now if they did it at 65 watts, it's not going to put out that, you know, large amounts of heat. Now, do understand this. I got the Ryzen 7 5700X. Now, at the wattage that it's at, they say it's at 65 watts. I'm kind of thinking, no, I'm getting much more than 65 watts at full bore. I mean, if I were to take and open up Cinebench right now and nail that processor, I bet you I can nail it up to about 80-90 watts easily. So, I mean, even if I can nail it up to 80 to 90 watts, it's still going to be within the safe. It's still going to be within the safe zone. You know, it's still not going to barrel it over 100, you know, 90 watts or 90. It's not going to barrel it over 90 degrees Celsius, if that's what y'all are thinking. On an air cooler, you got to kind of be careful when you're messing with the air cooler, because usually on the recommendation, my recommendation that you use an AIO or use some kind of water cooling to be safer about it, to where it doesn't heat the chip, that processor up that hot and everything else. I can tell you on an air cooler, I'm not doing too bad, because it's supposed to be a 200 watt cooler. The air cooler I got for mine is supposed to go up to 200 watts. So, with keeping that in notion, and then when I hit it full bore, it only hits it full bore at 61 degrees C. At full bore. So, I get 61 degrees Celsius, and I got it, the thermal limit set to 80 degrees C. So if it ever hits 80 degrees Celsius, it's going to downclock to keep it below 80 degrees Celsius. You could do that into the BIOS to where you can downclock it at a certain temperature, so this way you don't kill the processor. I know the max, the TJ max is 100, so I'm never going to hit 100 on the TJ max of this processor. So keep that in mind when you clock your processor carefully, and you take your time and you review all the information that you can find on it before you decide to clock it, then you'll be better off. Which I did. I found out all of the information I need to know to clock it at the right point. But now I did at the right point. But the thing is this processor still clocks up at 4650 megahertz. That's 4.650 gigahertz. So it's still hitting its normal that AMD quotes it to go to. It goes right to that, and I'm not pushing it past it. I'm not going to degrade the processor by overclocking it to, you know, much more higher realms of power. I don't need to do that. I mean, I was running a motherboard that was running at 4.4 gigahertz. 4. Well, actually, that one, I ran it at 4.250. Not 4.4. I ran that at 4.250 gigahertz. So I didn't kill the processor, and it ran for many months like that, and it is still chooching today. So let's leave it at that. Now, as far as what you guys want to do, if you think having more clock is going to, improve your gameplay, yes and no. Yes and no. Understand what I'm saying? Yes and no. You can be running at the clock speeds I'm running at and still have a decent graphics card and decent amount of RAM and everything else, and still have a great gameplay. So far, I will tell you, I am floored on the gameplay that I've been having with this. I've been having a blast with this computer. I mean, seriously, a blast. Especially with having the RTX 4070 in here, and, having 64 gigs of RAM, and the Ryzen 7 5700X, and motherboard, Asus Strix B550A. I'm getting all the potentials out of the graphics card. All the potentials. It's hitting all the potentials that I want. Okay. I mean, for $1,000, you can't beat it. That's all it cost me total, $1,000 for this computer, and nothing else. And it's all from Amazon. You wait for their sales. You can get them on some good sales, and if you have that rebate program, to where you save money as you buy, then you'll be able to get your whole computer probably for less than what I got it for. But I got mine for a decent deal. I set my margin at $1,000 for this PC, so I got everything I wanted for $1,000. So I figured $400 for the processor, the RAM, M.2 drive, and all the other goodies, and I considered $600 for the graphics card. That's how I figured it. So at $1,000, I took my time. It took me 8 months to get here. 8 months to buy everything I needed for this computer, but it's still not done yet. I might consider going up in power for the PSU, going to 1,000-watt PSU. I might decide to go to a bigger case. I might go to a bigger case, but from the looks of this case, I bet you I could fit a water cooling system in this case, just the way it is. Either a 360 rad or a 240 rad I can put into this case. I can put either 360 or 240 or both. So that's something I can consider too. I don't need the fans because I already got the fans. So I might double up on the fans, in the future. So in the front I might run 6 fans, and on top I might run 4 fans, and I got 1 fan in the back. Double up on the fans. Don't ask me why. It's something I wanted to try. It's something I wanted to see if it would work. If I can pull double the amount of air out of the in and out of the PC quicker to keep a stronger cooling system. Especially if I'm going to put 2 radiators in it, and put a big old pump in there, and and try to water cool the processor, and maybe do the graphics card too. Water cool the graphics card. Do both of them. That's something for in the future. Right now, I'm just trying this out the way it is and seeing if I'm going to be happy with it and everything else. So let's not jump to conclusions just yet, because we got plenty of years to decide what kind of upgrade on a PC I really want to do. So understand that. But there it is in a nutshell. What would you do if you had this new processor that's coming out? What would you do with the Ryzen 5 5600X3D? Now, I want you to leave a comment in below and let me know. Would you replace your current processor? Let's say you got a B550 motherboard, right? And you got, let's say you got the Ryzen 7 5700G. Okay. Would you replace the Ryzen 7 5700G with the Ryzen 5 5600X3D and change to a discrete graphics card? Or if you have the 5600, would you change it to the 5600X3D? In that sense, would you buy just plain in a nutshell, if the Ryzen 5 5600X3D was $200 to $230, would you buy it? Let me know in the comments below and all that. You know, I gave you 3 different varieties to choose from. You know, what would be in your situation? What would you do if you had a chance to replace it with a better processor? Would you replace it, or would you continue with the same processor you got? If the price was good, would you replace it? Even though you could still keep the processor you have and keep that on stock, keep it to where you have an option if this processor doesn't work out. So you do have an option. And I suggest, and I know everybody sits there and says like this, if you want to get a better graphics card, then turn around and sell your graphics card to get a better one. You know, I've heard that for so many years, and I hear so many people saying they made that mistake of doing that, of selling it to get something better. That's not benefiting the person that's selling it. That's benefiting the person who's buying it. So you have to understand, you know, if you got something that's working awesome, keep it. Don't sell it. Buy something better. Don't sell your parts. Especially if you know they're working great. Do not sell your parts. I do not sell my parts whatsoever. Okay, if I get something from these companies, let's say they want to do let's say the company wants to do like a giveaway on my channel, that's different. You know, but the whole reason I'm telling you this is because when you get something, you want to hold on to it. Because there's going to come a rainy day where you're going to need that for either your computer or another computer you're building for your system. You know, you want to take and make like a server computer, you know, out of that processor. But guess what? You sold it. So think about that too. All right, we're not going to make this past 30 minutes, but I just want you all to think about that. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And thank you once again for subscribing to the JJ's PC Builds. Welcome to the family. And also to the subscribers, the veterans of the channel. Thank you once again for all you do. You are awesome. Just to let you know. But until the next time, in the next video, you know who this is. This is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.